A habit is something you do repeatedly without even having to think of it. If you can program certain habits into your life, it makes getting leaner way more effortless because we don't even think about it, and it makes fat loss almost automatic. These are 10 underrated habits that helped me lose over 15 kgs and go from 93 kgs down to 78 kgs. If you can apply some of these habits into your daily life and daily routine, it will make it so much easier to lose that stubborn fat. Firstly is eating the same thing every single day. When you eat the same thing every single day, eating becomes automated. You stop thinking about food that often and you actually have less cravings, because you only have cravings when you have to think, I've got 2,000 calories today, what am I going to eat? And then you try and pick foods every single day that will fit into 2,000 calories instead of just eating the same thing every single day. If you eat the same thing every single day, it removes the space for options and choice. And when you don't have a choice to do something, you just do what you need to do without having to think more on it. The more you think about what foods you have to eat to fit into this many calories, that's when there's room for now thinking of, okay, can I fit a cheat meal in? And then you end up messing up your diet completely. When you lock in what you're going to eat every single day, food intake becomes automatic and it becomes way easier to stick to a dieting protocol. When your dieting protocol is shifting every single day, you eating different foods, it's just a lot easier to slip up and mess up. But if you say, I'm eating oats in the morning, I'm eating eggs for lunch and steak for dinner, and that's locked in, it becomes automated. And just think of it like this: you don't have to track calories anymore if you're eating the same exact thing in the same quantities and same proportions every single day, and it's a lot easier to find when your calorie deficit isn't working. Now at least you know, if you're losing weight, boom, stay consistent. But if you're not losing weight, it means that you're eating too many calories. It's easy to reduce your calories and see changes. And then if your fat loss starts to stagnate, it's easy to remove 200 calories and you're eating the same thing every single day consistently in the same quantities and same proportion. It's a lot easy to stay consistent and see consistent fat loss if you do it like that. It's also a lot easier when you meal prep, because now you can meal prep what you're going to eat. If you're going to eat the same thing every single day in the same quantities, now you can just bulk cook for like the next 4 or 5 days, and it's way easier to stick to your diet when you meal prepping. Habit number 2 is brushing your teeth early in the evening. When you brush your teeth, it's almost like a subconscious cutoff point to say no more food. I don't know about you, but I don't like the taste or that minty toothpaste taste, and then I don't like to eat food after that taste. So once I've brushed my teeth, I'm way less likely to eat than if I hadn't brushed my teeth yet. So it's like a cutoff point to say, boom, I've brushed my teeth, no more food for the day. The next one is adding mixed veggies to your dinner. Now, veggies are very low in calories. You can have a whole bag, an entire bowl of veggies for like 40-50 calories, but a lot of people make the mistake of putting their veggies on the side. You don't want to put your veggies on the side because veggies don't really taste that nice. What if you mix your veggies into your meat? Let's say you're cooking mincemeat, ground beef. You put your veggies into the ground beef and cook it, make like a stew with the veggies. Now the veggies have the taste of the ground beef, but they add volume, they add flavor to your meals, because now the veggies actually taste nice, so you're more likely to eat it because it's mixed in with the beef. If you're cooking chicken roast, put the veggies in with the chicken roast to fill up a lot of room in your stomach and make dieting a lot more effortless. If you had put the veggies on the side, you're less likely to eat the veggies, let's be honest. But if the veggies are mixed in with the meat, every bite you have of minced meat, you also have veggies with it, which makes the veggies taste better and which makes you more likely to eat the vegetables, which takes room in your stomach, which is very filling, keeps you fuller for longer. Nextly, you want to keep trigger foods out of sight. If you can't see something, you're less likely to have it. If you have the snack where they have like the Oreos, whatever snacks out on display, it's out on the kitchen counter. Every time you walk past the kitchen, you're going to see the Oreos. Every time you walk past the kitchen, you're going to see the marshmallows. And it becomes a distraction. Now it's stuck in your mind. Now you've got Oreos. It's stuck in your memory. And now you have to actually resist and use willpower, because Oreos, who doesn't like Oreos? We like Oreos. So why would you put your trigger food out there on display to trigger you? Instead, put your Oreos, put your snacks or whatever in a kitchen cupboard where you won't be able to see it often. Maybe a cupboard you don't open often, because what happens is we'll just forget that they're even there. And then the next step from there further would actually be to just not keep any snacks in our house. But let's say you don't have an option to, then just keep it out of sight, because if you're not seeing the snacks constantly, then you're not thinking about the snacks constantly. But if every time you walk past the kitchen you see the snack bar, you see the snack, now you're thinking about the snacks more often and you're less likely to stay consistent on your diet, because now you're gonna want to taste the snack. You say just one Oreo, and then 1 becomes 2, and then 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 4, becomes 5 Oreos. In a matter of time, you're off your diet. Now you back back to who you were before. I'll tell you of a story. I used to get sweet cravings all the time, and I used to wonder why. And then looking back now, I realize why. It's because we had our snacks out on display in the kitchen, and I was resisting. Every single time I would walk into the kitchen, I would see the snacks and I would have to resist. And contrast that to now we keep the snacks in a cupboard which is closed, and I rarely even open that cupboard, so most of the time I don't even realize we have snacks, and I just eat way less snacks now. And if we didn't even have snacks in the house, I'm gonna eat less snacks, because now the barrier to getting those snacks is harder. Now you have to go to the shops, you have to shop, you have to drive to the shop, you have to drive back, and in a moment of having a craving, you'll be like, is it really worth it? And you'll be able to reason yourself out of it. Is tracking calories on the weekend. Now, I'll tell you, most people are actually quite consistent and quite diligent on their diet during the week, Monday to Friday. And then on the weekend, they're not tracking calories. They don't know how much they're consuming. So they just end up over consuming on the weekend. And it's very easy to over consume food if you're not tracking it. So my recommendation is to actually track calories. Even if you're going to have a cheat meal, track how many calories are in your cheat meal, because it subconsciously just makes you not want to overdo on your cheat meal. If you don't know how many calories are in your cheat meal, you're just gonna overdo it. You'll be like, nah, I was diligent throughout the week, let me reward myself. But still track calories, and then don't be in a calorie deficit on the weekend. Go on maintenance calories. So maintenance calories is what your body needs to maintain the body weight. So you're not losing fat on the weekends, but you're not gaining fat also. You get what I mean? Most people, they're diligent throughout the week, they lose body fat throughout the week, and then on the weekend, they eat so much into a surplus that they just gain back all the fat that they had lost during the week. The next tip is to eat without screens. Now, I used to be a professional screen eater. I used to have to watch a YouTube video, I used to have to watch TV whilst eating my meal, and there was actually a time when I had food, right? And the video was like 20 minutes long, and I finished my food like 10 minutes in. The problem with that was that I was like, nah, I finished the food too early. Let me get more food so that I can finish this video. It's not that I was hungry. It's just that I wanted to finish the video at the same time as I finished the food, and I wanted to enjoy the food whilst watching the video. So I ended up eating more food just so that I could finish the video. Not that I was even hungry. What I should have done is I should have just eaten consciously without TV, without screens, just enjoyed every single bite. I just find that I naturally just eat less food when I'm enjoying every bite, when I'm eating consciously, versus when I'm eating whilst watching TV or distracted on a phone or distracted on TikTok. It just feels like less food at the end of the day. The next thing is to pack high protein snacks. It can be anything from a protein bar to biltong, anything that can sort of just fill in the gap. If you know you're going to be out for like a few hours, just pack something that you can nibble on, because sometimes you just need something to just fill your tank up a little bit. A lot of people make the mistake of going out, and then a few hours later they're like, I'm super hungry, let me get something to eat, and then they end up getting like 1,000 calories worth of fast food. Instead, you should just pack like a protein bar, some biltong, something that you can sort of nibble on, that can get you throughout the day. And it could possibly be 300, 400 calories, very high protein, mainly protein, low calories. And then by the time you've gotten back home, you can actually cook something nutritious, cook something healthy, cook something that's part of your meal plan. Trust me, it makes such a big difference, because sometimes you're not actually hungry, you just want to nibble on something. Grilled over fried at a restaurant. Now, you'll be surprised, but grilled tastes pretty similar to fried, but it makes such a big difference, because if you really think about it, if something is deep fried, it means it is like drenched in oil, and a lot of people don't understand how high calorie oil is. A small amount of oil can easily be 400 to 500 calories, and the difference in calories in your meals can easily be 400 to 500 calories. But in terms of like how much it fills your stomach up, it's almost exactly the same. It's just that one used oil and one was grilled, so it uses less oil. Simply by you swapping from the oil version to the grilled version, you already save a whole bunch of calories, like 300, 400, 500 calories, depending on what is fried. If you get potatoes which are baked versus like deep fried chips, that's a big difference, trust me, just on oil alone. So the feeling of fullness that you get from each of those meals is almost exactly the same, but the calories is vastly different just because one used more oil and one was grilled. Number 9 is walking after each and every meal. The thing is, walking helps a lot with digestion, but it's also a good time to get a good extra couple of steps in. And if you make it a habit to like walk after each meal, it just becomes like automated. It becomes like a habit, a system that you consistently do every single day. It's just, oh, that's what I do. I walk after my meals, and it becomes a habit. The last one is the worst one, but unfollow food pages on social media, especially those junk pages or whatever on social media. This used to throw me off a lot. I remember when I was on social media, I was scrolling on like Instagram, and I would see like fried chicken, and I would see like someone doing an ASMR or making homemade fried chicken, and it would just make me so hungry. It would make me want to eat what they were eating, especially when they would do like this thing with the knife, and then they'll show how crispy it is, like like the sounds, and it like immersifies you. It makes your mind and tricks your mind into thinking the fried chicken is right there, and it makes you hungry. Like literally sometimes my mouth would start to water just from seeing someone's food on social media. Imagine. So when I unfollowed those social media pages, I found that I had less cravings. I had less cravings for junk food, for fried foods,